Inland Revenue Board Malaysia is committed to managing the country's tax in a fair, efficient and effective manner. This commitment has awarded them Public Financial Institution of the Year in Asia, and its CEO, Dr. Mahfar, has been personally recognised CEO of the Year in Asia in 2015. Dr. Mahfar joins us today to discuss the country's taxation industry. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So tell us about how IRBM has evolved since its inception in 1996.
So in 1996, government decided that to change our status from fully government departments to become a statutory body. So in 1996, when we formed IRBM, so we have the philosophy from the government that we have to do it, our business should be on the different way. It's not a normal way, just like any government departments. And we've been given flexibility in terms of our culture and everything. So in 1996, the idea that government changed the status from fully government departments to become a statutory body, because they have in mind that in that point of time, then they want to introduce a different tax system. Before that, it was what we call it a formal tax system, whereby the taxpayer has to submit the tax returns, and the Director General of Inland Revenue has to determine how much tax to be paid. But later on, we start to figure out how to change the system to be called a self-assessment system. So on the self-assessment system, we need a lot of business process re-engineering, because the way that we do our business is entirely different as before. And most of the tax authority worldwide that already introduced this, we call it a self-assessment system, whereby that we give the trust on the taxpayer to calculate, to declare their own incomes. Because the philosophy on the taxation, we want to create a voluntary compliance, and to do that, the tax authority has to pass the message to the taxpayer: we trust you, you do your best, and upon receiving your returns, we accept in good faith. So in that regard, the organization of a tax administration, in this case is IRBM, so we have to change our culture. Our culture in the sense that those days is different approach, but now we perceive taxpayer as our customer. So when we perceive our taxpayer as a customer, and you know that in the business line, we always say that customer is always right. You want to give the best service to them. But when talks about tax authority, how do you define that to give a best service? Because not every taxpayer or not everybody like to pay tax, because taxes is something, is a different role, ball games, So IRBM have to change their approach, and we feel that we must be seen not to be too scary to taxpayer. Okay, we must be friendly approach to them, and we design our delivery system starting from the frontliner. Okay, we must be very, very friendly approach. We have a friendly approach to them, and we tell them that what is the purpose of you, for the purpose of you to pay the taxes. Actually, the money that collected, from taxes is from the community, because the taxpayer is a community, paid to the government through the IRBM, and the government pass back the money through the development program, such as, for example, infrastructure, roads, hospitals, education, and so forth. So this is the evolution. And with the introduction of self-assessment started in 2001, we have two stages, 2001 for the corporate taxpayer and 2004 for the individual taxpayer. We believe that when we want to introduce self-assessment, we must learn from our counterparts' experience. Don't do the big bang. We have to do that, what is the priority. So we started in 2001 with the corporate taxpayer, because most of the corporate taxpayer being represented by a tax professional. And they are much easier for us when we explain to them about their roles, about their duty, and their responsibility. And 2004, we gave about 3 years we need to have a learning curve implementation of the new tax system. So 2004 we started with the individual taxpayer, and we know that in the self-assessment system, when we started 2001, and suddenly that the IT evolution is quite aggressively, So people now talk about the IT. So we have to ensure that whatever system that we introduce when dealing with taxpayer, we must ensure that the IT must be there. So the IT, the information technology become part and parcel of our business process. And we started to introduce during that time, 2004, in fact 2004, because of the request by taxpayer that, they need a services, they call it e-filing. E-filing. So before we started with the full fledged of e-filing, we introduced a small scale, what we call it e-filing, so that we want taxpayer to fill first, whereby that we give them the opportunity to go through our website. They can download the system, the return forms, they fill in everything, then submit it to us. Then it took us about 3 years when the system is quite stable. Then we introduce a full fledged of e-filing. So it's a lot of evolution actually. And when we see about the e-filing, the first introduction was very, very small amount because taxpayers still put the question on us, the question mark. How best is your system? Is it secured? But we keep on telling to them that, okay, fine, whatever information submitted through the electronic form, everything all secured. Because we must ensure that our firewall cannot be hacked by the hackers and everything. So suddenly we can see that taxpayer feel that, okay, now they trust us, because this is very important, Mercedes, when talks about revenue tax collection, because taxpayer must be they must put their confidence on us. Because we are the one that who been given a task to collect taxpayers' money. So they must see us, they must confidence on us, they must respect that, yes, we are very efficient to manage the tax system in their country.
And what services do you provide?
As I mentioned just now, in the era of a self-assessment, the service is more priority to us, because taxpayers do their duty to fill up the forms and everything. So we must provide the services. And the services that provide, we must remember that taxpayer may communicate with us in the 3 different forms. They may come to us personally, in person. So in this regard, that we must ensure that our service center, or we call it the frontliners, must be equipped with all the information, with all the knowledge that they can explain to taxpayer. And we introduce what we call it a one-stop counter, because we don't want taxpayer just pass the taxpayer from one counter to another counter, or from one unit to another unit. So we have a problem resolution officer, so that they can handle taxpayers' problem. Then we, of course, we create a different culture as far as this counter service. We tell them that you are being called a customer care officer, because the term of care, I like to emphasize here that, because caring is loving, Okay, so we explain to taxpayer, we understand your problem, because taxation is very complicated. It's very complicated, and being a layman, you don't expect taxpayer to understand everything, because taxation issues not only involve in terms of the accounting, but most cases that involve interpretations of the law. And this is very, very complicated for the layman to understand. That is on the first part. So we create a very conducive environment when taxpayers come in to see us in person. The second mode of interaction, taxpayer may call us by phone. So we create what we call it a dedicated line. We call it a call center. So this call center, being our call agent being trained how to answer the calls, okay, how to do they give advice to taxpayer. With this regard, that we have our call center by using our customer relationship management (CRM), whereby any call that they receive inbound calls, we already know about the information about taxpayer. Then it's much easier for us to advise taxpayer. You know, because our concern is this: when they contact us, we try to minimize the time taken by taxpayer. And the third one is through email or through ordinary letter. So we have devised a system that this letter must be attempted within 2 working days, for example. Okay, and we must keep track the movement of the letter. So with these 3 modes of communication between taxpayer and us, either in person, either through phone call, or through email, or through a letter, we must ensure that everything taxpayer must satisfy with us. So that's lately, you know, in about 2 to 3 years ago, that we introduced our tagline that hasil, we call IRBM as hasil. Hasil is a revenue. So hasil is your feel-good partner. So feel-good means that, okay, they trust us, we trust you as a taxpayer, and you feel good when dealing with us. Because feel good is very, very important to create the environment between taxpayer and the tax authority.
As you said, taxation can be very overwhelming. So what activities have you engaged in to promote better understanding of taxation?
Being a tax authority, you must realize that our main business is to collect tax. So collecting tax is not come by natural cause. So we have to ensure that the enforcement of the law, okay, even though we say that it's a self-assessment, but enforcement of the law is very, very critical and very crucial for us. In fact, not only for us, for any enforcement agency. So we tell taxpayer that we have a 2-pronged strategy, or I used to call it a carrot and stick approach. So let me start with the carrot first. Okay, the carrot means that we have to ensure taxpayer must really understand and appreciate our tax system. So we design our taxpayer education program, okay, to tell them, to explain to them from taxpayer perspective, when you receive this type of income, how to deal with taxation on your income, types of income. For example, for salary earner, it's different approach compared to the business income. Okay, and for individuals, it's different approach with the corporate taxpayer. So we we have a program, taxpayer education, and this is ongoing. Ongoing in the sense that because our tax system is evolved, and our tax law every year government keep on introducing new provisions of the law. Maybe some provision being deleted, you know, because it depends on the circumstances. And that is why we call it a taxpayer education program. Besides that, we have also tax awareness program. So tax awareness means that taxpayer must be aware, because some of the taxpayers that they are illiterate, they do not know about their roles, they do not know about their duty. So this one, we fall about the taxpayer awareness. In fact, on this taxpayer awareness, we have a program we have a cooperation with our Ministry of Education. So for the upper secondary schools, you know, we have a program with them, that a small program, but to educate them, the roles of taxation, because taxation is part of the fiscal policy. So they must understand that. And the fourth one is taxpayer assistance. So taxpayer assistance, as I mentioned just now, that we have our call center for inbound calls and outbound calls. And we have our website that taxpayer, when they have any questions, they can directly email to us. And during the filing season in Malaysia, for individual who receive a salary income, the 30th April is the due date for filing. Prior to we introduce self-assessment, so taxpayer always keep on waiting for the last day to file and to rush to our office. So when come to self-assessment, so we have to change their behavior, and with the introduction of e-filing, so we explain to them that don't wait until the last minute. When you wait until the last minute, everybody, no matter how best you provide the infrastructure, will be jammed. So we already explained to them the benefits when they choose to file in through e-filing. And suddenly that we post the FAQ, frequent asked questions, on our website. At the same time also, for some of the government agency, that we have a training program for them. We call it a TRO, Tax Relation Officer. So we write a letter to government agency. Please identify your officer to be a liaison officer dealing with tax matters, so that when they have any problems or any issues pertaining to taxation, so we can deal direct to this officer, and we can open a counter for them. We can have a special briefing for them. So all these things is all what we call it is ongoing, and we keep on improve it to improve the system based on the feedback from our customer. About e-filing, 3 years ago we introduced mobile filing, because we know that now we are dealing with the generation Y, who are very IT literate, So they want to know if you're e-filing. They don't want to know the traditional way to the PC. They want through the laptop, and now with the mobile. So with that introduction of the mobile device, so we can see that the number of people who come on e-filing keep on increasing. For example, last year, we managed to get around 4 million taxpayers who file in through e-filing. So this is a big jump compared to about 7 years ago when we started e-filing. So this is very, very important, and we change our image. Okay, we change our image. For example, one of our enforcement at the bottom on our pyramid of what you call it compliance model, whereby that taxpayer do not know how to comply. So on this category, they do not know how to comply. So we teach them. We have, last time we call it a street survey. So we have a special survey on the streets to visit them, to see whether they have registered with us or not. But 2 years ago, we don't call it a street survey anymore. We call it a courtesy call, courtesy visit. Courtesy, we visit them. Okay, we advise them, and we tell them, we explain to them that this staff or these members of the organization of IRBM, using the badge of the button badge, they call it Hasil is your tax education partner. So we say that we are partner with you. So that's why we try to reach as many as possible our population, so that we hope that in the future everybody should understand what is taxation, should come forward to pay the tax happily. Of course, right now it's not people happily pay, but they have been forced to pay, But we want one fine day happily to pay, and if everybody happy to pay, it's become a community asset. And you feel a bit awkward if your friend paying the tax, but you don't pay.
And how has taxation evolved in the last 10 years in order to be the most beneficial both for the citizens and the country?
For Malaysia, our tax collection, because IRBM is given a mandate to collect a federal tax, federal revenue. So we are only collecting income tax, okay, direct taxes. For the past records that our collection between 50 to 60% of the federal government revenue. So you can see, Mercedes, around 50 to 60% of the government's revenue depends on the efficiency of IRBM. In 2011, when I took over, when I was appointed as a CEO, so our collection was jumped because previous year was 89 billion in ringgit Malaysia RM and jumped to 109 billion. So that's a huge jump. And then the following year, it was increased again from 109 to 125, and last year was 134 billion. So with this increase in the revenue collection, so it is the government's burden, because if the revenue is not enough to cover the development costs, definitely the government have to borrow the money, or maybe to issue a bond, So with the revenue keep on increasing every year, so government can plan the development project for the country. And also in 2012, our government of Malaysia, part of the petroleum subsidy, to rationalize the petroleum subsidy, so they introduced what they call it in bahasa Bantuan Rakyat Satu Malaysia, People's Aid. This is cash money given to a specific group, and we have been given a task to deal with this program. We are not giving the money, but we are given a task that to process the application. So means to say that before 2012, our role is only to collect revenue. But after 2012, with our collection, now we are given the additional task that to involve with the processing of the people's aids, the subsidy, another form of subsidy, but very targeted group. So now I can say that I'm dealing with two categories of population. One category around 5 million taxpayer who are supposed to pay taxes, and the other hand is the people that needs the subsidy from the government, the targeted group. So now you can see that the role of IRBM is very, very critical. Okay, critical in the sense that we have to ensure our collection must be on the right track, and we keep on telling our officer that our IRBM staff, our role is towards the non-military defense. Why I say that non-military defense? Because if a collection keep on on the declining every year, let's say for example declining. So government need to borrow the money from from the international institution, and it costs to us because of the interest and everything. And I think now for the past 3 years, that in the European country, some of the country that financially they are not in the good shape. So with this regard, that this is the role of IRBM, to ensure that we collect accordingly the money. And of course, Mercedes, when we are dealing with taxpayer, we are dealing with human behavior. Why I say that human behavior? Because you may deal with this taxpayer, today they are very good taxpayer, but the following year we do not know. Because the more they have the money, they may try to plan to do a tax, tax planning. And you know that even in US, the Internal Revenue Service issue a FATCA to the whole world that we have to report. Every country, every financial institution need to report to IRS about the money or the income that received by the US citizen. So mean to say that, back to the enforcement, when it comes to tax enforcement, it's not one-off enforcement. You must be seen to enforce the law and must assist taxpayer. We must assist taxpayer so that they can understand and always belongs to you, loyal to you. Loyal means that they are happily declare their tax correctly, okay, and according to the law. This is very, very critical.
Malaysia's government goal is to make the country a high-income developed nation by 2020. So how is IRBM supporting the government to achieve this goal?
Okay, of course, when it comes to our nation, we want to become a developed nation by 2020 and to high-income economy. When we say the high-income economy, of course, IRBM have to prepare ourselves so that we are in line with the government's strategy. And with this regard that internally, we have a program internally that to equip our officer with all the technical knowledge. Because taxation, they evolve. And what right now, because of the globalization, so we must be aware that our taxpayer not only affected by domestic law, but maybe some of them may be affected with the international law. So we keep on prepare ourselves. We are actively involved with the OECD's program, for example, and we also have engaged with other international institutions. For example, I'm a president of Qatar. Okay, we must ensure that we must understand the taxation issues. Last week, I think everybody knows that about the Panama Papers. So we have to prepare ourselves, because of the globalization issues, transfer pricing issues, and also what we call it a black economy. So IRBM have to keep up with the latest development, and we have to gear our strategy towards the government strategy. We want to achieve developed nation and high income economy. And the way that when we interact with our taxpayer in the future, so we must be very, very professional. We must be prepared that to prepare ourselves that maybe with the latest arts of the technology, maybe in the near future that, everything all, once you come to us, just giving your name, maybe your identity, we can understand the whole history of your taxation history. And this is what IRBM have to prepare. Because we can't say that, the old way, because we have to equip ourselves with the new way of doing our business.
Tell us about the CSR activities IRBM is involved in.
Currently, we have around 11,000 staff members. Okay, so we don't want them to be so bogged down with the office matters. So we give them chance, give them opportunity to participate what we call it a CSR, corporate social responsibility. Of course, IRBM cannot simply use the money, the fund that we have, because people will say that you collected from the taxpayers' money, now you want to spend for other purpose. So with this regard, our CSR program is different from compared to other company, maybe from other organizations. So we appeal to our staff, why don't we participate in the CSR activity, but in a different form? For example, it's a blood donation campaign, blood donation. So we have a blood donation campaign. whereby that, okay, we have a campaign. We ask our members, our staff members to participate, and at the same time we open up to the public, because not cost to us, at minimum cost. Second, we have our divers. In fact, we have our divers, who are voluntarily, they get their own license. Then we have around 100 of them. So we are participate in the marine, Okay, we went to the Terengganu, Sabah, okay, about the coral, everything. That is part and parcel that we feel that we love our nation, we love the earth. Okay, and beside that also we have CSR on the to give some assistance during the flood, because some of the states in Malaysia, especially on the east coast during the monsoon season, being hit by flood. So we assist them, and we participate in the government's campaign to assist them. So this is part of the CSR, but at the minimum cost to us, because it's come voluntarily from our member. And back to the philosophy just now, that our tagline, "Hasil is your feel-good partner." So we will be with you during happy day, also during sad day. Okay, so this what part of the CSR that we already planned, and a lot more maybe to come in the future. It depends on the environment.
So talking about the future, what are your goals for 2016?
Of course, 2016 is quite a tough year for us, because you know that 30% of our collection, the tax collection, is from oil industry, and oil price is keep on hit by the low price, the crude oil, and it's never happened 30 years ago. Those days, you heard that every year the price of oil keep on increasing, but started last year, keep on reduce. Now at the range of per barrel, I think USD around 30 USD. So because of oil price reduce, and it affect 30% of our collection. So we have to diversify our strategy. What best that we can assist taxpayer who being affected by this industry, and especially in the industry of oil and gas. And at the same time, we must ensure that we don't want our revenue being easily drop. So we have our plan, we have our strategy. We approach taxpayer, okay? Those who want to come forward to declare their tax, their back duty, for example, some of them may be scared to come forward to see us. So we said that, okay, look here, we know that this is really a hard time for you. And with all the exchange of information that we are involved in worldwide, one fine day we know you. You are not declaring your income accordingly. So we say that, okay, now we give you a concession, come forward, okay, we assist you. Of course, we give you some leeway in the sense that, okay, maybe easy installment scheme, okay. So we have to adjust accordingly, because 2016 is quite tough for the taxpayer, for the business people. And we cannot give them another slap to them. Because the philosophy of taxation is very simple, Mercedes. Don't kill the goose who lays a golden egg. We have to assist them. So this is the philosophy for 2016, and I strongly believe that we can maneuver under this the hard time.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and good luck in this 2016.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mercedes, for giving me an opportunity to be with you today. Thank you.